One. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Breaking Free podcast. I'm your host, Nathan Francis. Today, very grateful to be joined by freedom from self-sabotage and mindset coach Ryan Hough. Ryan, welcome back for part two, mate. How you been? What's been going on in your world? 12 months to the day you came on and shared your story, former Hollywood actor turned coach. So if you want to listen to that one, link will be in the show notes. Ryan, welcome back. Happy to have you here, mate. What's been going on?
Appreciate you, man. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's. Can you
Yeah.
believe it's been 12 months, mate?
No, we were just talking offline, man. It's wild. It's almost like to the day as well. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun to be back. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Ryan, what's been going on? What shall we talk about today?
So many different things, so many different rabbit holes we could go down, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's wild. It's crazy. Just the timeline of what happened a year ago, 12 months ago to now. There's just so many things, so many iterations. Um, But yeah, I don't know. Wherever I'm open to whatever direction you you want to steer this. But
A lot of men these days, Ryan. I feel like we need more men standing up and just tapping into their emotional awareness. And I feel like having someone like you on and a few of the other coaches, it's good to give young men and men in general some proper role models out there.
yeah,
Especially after what we're talking about off air too.
especially talking about what?
Especially after what we were talking about off air, we need more men out there
Yes.
doing doing things that, feel their emotions and lead by example.
Touche, man. I agree. I think yeah, I think it's really important to, especially for men, to have a purpose and to have a like a North Star and really be focused on what it is that you want to go after. And then therefore then I mean I think what may be missing at times, whether that be young men or old men or men my age or what have you. I think it's if you lose, focus of what your purpose is, that's challenging, right? We really want to be of service. We really want to provide and protect and and more just with the whole feminist movement, it seems like it's usurping all of that. And so people, I think men in general, I think and women, right? I think it's really truly a war sort of on the sexes, I think. Women are being told that they don't need a man, and men, depending on whatever kind of group you fall under, if you start watching like the red pill narratives, you start to really kind of get into this mindset that like um just kind of go your own way. And I don't think that's really important either, or that's not really helpful. And so, um, yeah, I think the emotions are important, but I think what's more important is having a true purpose in life and going after that and not being necessarily worried about the ridicule.
Yeah.
And because you're what we talk about, like, right, like it's, the more that you're over the target, the more firing you're going to get. And so it doesn't mean to go out and act like an asshole, but it's okay to be disliked. And and I think once you and I'm still unlearning all of that as well. And I'm not there yet completely either. But the more and more you just get to the point of being comfortable, being uncomfortable is super important.
Yeah. And being proud and oh yeah, being proud of who you are and stepping into that true authenticity helps too.
What do they say? I think they say the highest vibration is not love, but it's authenticity.
Yeah.
So you know, just being really authentic and true. Um, you know, I don't mean it to sound all hokey, but it's true. Like, you're born for this time because you were made for this time. And your presence and your awareness and your voice is important because it's unique and
Mm.
it's authentic to you. And so, yeah, speak. Speak and stand up. for
Yeah.
sure.
Yep.
Yeah,
Especially with all the chaos going on out there in the world as well. It's a very I think now's the most important time to go inward as well. Focus on you and your own universe, your own world, which then changes the outer anyway, right?
absolutely. No, for sure. Um, yeah, you got to look at yourself. You got to look at yourself in the mirror and understand where your shadow comes up, and there's nothing wrong with it. But yeah, I have, like the brighter your light that you imbue, the larger your shadow is. And so it's really super important to, yeah, to analyze, to reflect and look at your, maybe some of your shortcomings and just carry that with you. Doesn't mean that you have to conceal it or anything like that, but just own it and honor it, you know. There's a really good book on this whole topic of masculinity. I don't know if you've read it. It's called what's it called? It's called King Warrior Magician Lover.
Oh.
And so it focuses in on the archetypes of of those masculine traits. And so it embodies some of the like, obviously, the attributes of each of those archetypes, of the king and the warrior and the magician and the lover. But then it also shows the shadow sides to be aware of, and to make sure that you're steadfast to not fall prey to those shadow sides. So of course the king would be, the just, and the responsibility of his kingdom and his realm, and take full responsibility for everything that is within his grasp. But then the shadow side of that is the tyranny of the
Mm.
control and all of that. So yeah, that was definitely an impactful book for me, for sure. It's helpful.
I'll tell you one
It's
book.
small.
There's a book I read too, The Way of the Modern Man, David Zeta.
Yes.
You read that
Yep.
one?
I have that one. I have that one too. Yeah, it's a great
Yeah,
book.
that's an absolute ripper, and that's a good place to start for, I feel, for any young man
Yeah,
or man out there. Like that is definitely that's a starting point that I recommend out is that book.
I agree.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, just yeah, especially young men, like we really require a role model. We really require someone to be an example to, we learn a lot quicker when we're actually witnessing someone that we admire do his thing. And
mm,
so, and then model that. And yeah, there's another good quote. I forget the gentleman's name, but um, if boys don't learn, then men won't know.
mm,
And so it's super important to,
mm,
yeah, like, just to be that, to embody that archetype, and then to be the example. And and then you give back. And yeah, I think it's because I think from, this is just these are just all my opinions, first and foremost. But with women, I think women, they just have this inherent natural. It doesn't mean that they all have to become mothers, but it's inherent. It's something that is like, that's ultimately their purpose. And so, and not to say that all men can't be fathers, but it's a different role completely. And so I think it's easier at times, if we're not careful, raising young men. I don't have any children of my own. I don't have any sons or daughters, but we have to be mindful of the fact that it's easier to get off track for men. It's because it's just not an inherent biological thing. We have to go out and find our purpose. We have to be made. We good strong men are created, like, or made, rather. I'm sorry, they're not created. And so we have to really embody that purpose and that mindset. And this is what you're doing right now, Nathan. Like, you have this amazing platform, this amazing podcast, and the guests that come on are unbelievable. And the wisdom that they share, and the wisdom that you share, is that's the amazing purpose. And I love that.
Thanks,
And
bro.
so whatever, yeah, whatever young men, it's okay, whatever it is, and start to find that authentic value. And then we tend to sometimes dismiss some of the things that come easy to us. We start to think, oh, we don't really necessarily always value that always. I know I'm probably projecting a bit, but that's at least from my perspective. I didn't really necessarily always value the things that the skills and the traits that I had that were somewhat easily accessible. And I think if we can start to realize and harness that and own that, it's easier to figure out what maybe that purpose is.
Yeah, and what do you find, or what do you recommend men should do to find that purpose? I've had people say, go out in the forest, go through something like is modern day initiation is where I'm going with that. Like, what would be your advice for a young man out there to find that purpose because they know that they're stuck and there's something wrong and they're not, I guess, on track.
Absolutely. I love all of those, man. Yeah, get back into nature. Nature is nature's a force. It's unbelievable. Yeah, go on to like an expedition of some sort, either like hunting or just some sort of like nature guide of whatnot. There's a South African gentleman. His name is Boyd Vardy. He wrote a small little book called The Lion's Tracker Guide to Life. Unbelievable book. But he does South African like lion safari retreats. And
Mm.
so it's for both men and women, but then he also has a subcategory for just men. And I want to do it. I want to save up and go out there, man. But yeah, you go out and like into onto the safari and you just track. There's no hunting involved or anything like that, but you're just tracking wild animals and just getting back into that element of this, not like of the natural struggle. And then you're with other men that are having to solve problems because we that's another gift that we have is like as men, like we like to solve problems. We like to dialogue about things as long as has a solution in the end. We don't necessarily want to just like emotionally speak about things just to get it off. We want to be like, hey, I want to know. I want to know how I can get to this end result. And so if you're in a group environment in nature with all of the elements, and then you're tracking a lion, for instance, and you're learning, but then you're also gathering information along the way, and then you're also solving problems. Like, okay, we got to this point and now we can't find the track anymore. Okay, well then we have to restart and navigate back. And of course, you're with a guide at the same time. But I think doing actions and yeah, being in an environment where it's action oriented, I think is super important.
Mm.
Um, rather than being like, and there's nothing wrong with it whatsoever, but in some of the other modalities of yeah, I think just yeah, I think the action oriented is definitely going to be helpful. And then through that process of a struggle, right? You're going to create relationships. You're going to have like you're going to test yourself. You're going to put yourself to that test. You're going to start to realize, oh, okay, like I'm not wigging out here, but Joe is, and so I'm going to do my best to make sure that Joe is going to be taken care of. But I'm actually realizing that okay, I can handle this. And in other instances, you're going to realize, okay, I have some work here that I would like to do. Um, so I think yeah, that action oriented is super important.
Mm. And especially because, as you said before, we are problem solvers, and we want to try and solve every problem but it's like we have to solve our own to be able to solve, I feel like in relationships and stuff too, like we just want to solve everything. It's like, well, sometimes we just need to sort out our own vessel to then solve X, Y, Z.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And when you're in relationship as well, it's challenging and you want to, yeah, you want to find out whether or not this is an opportunity where I can, provide some wisdom to get out of the mess, or if this is just a venting session and that's okay. But the important thing is, I think what you're saying is, I agree, is just to, yeah, okay, well, what kind of energy and what kind of presence am I bringing to the table here? And and then we're always striving, healthy masculinity is always, striving for service. We're always striving to 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 provide and make things bring ease to everything. And so um and then when we can start to realize, okay, what kind of results are we getting here? If
Yeah.
it's not to what we want, well, then we can, self-analyze and calibrate and see, okay, maybe is it us or is it something else? And then go from there. And it's also just shadow work as well, right? We're just coming
Yeah.
back to like, okay, hey, um, if I spot it, then I got it myself. So, hey, what kind of, yeah, what am I bringing to the table here? Am I projecting, or am I bringing my best self to this scenario?
Mm. And that's a good inner dialogue question to ask too. You take that moment of pause and go, right, is the way I'm about to react or respond here my best self? Or how would I had a good
Yeah,
guest, I had a good quote recently I heard too, mate, where is what would love do?
absolutely. Yeah, I love it, man. I think that's Paul Check, or at least I
I think that
remember
is
maybe
Paul Check, yeah.
yeah, yeah, dude, that's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I think that's a great mantra to embody.
Yeah.
Yeah, what would love to? Yeah,
You just have that moment
yep,
of pause, someone might be saying something to you that is, upsetting or, and you just have that moment and you might just take that breath and go, okay, what would love do in this situation? Sometimes it's
yep,
best not saying anything at all. Sometimes it's best to just respond in a nice way so that the energy can.
absolutely. Yeah, no, for sure. Well, I mean, and listen, like we as men, we have a relationship with anger. It's related to aggression.
Yep.
And if we're not aware of it and utilizing that aggression in a healthy way with direction, then it can get us off kilter, and that again we can then become the controlling tyrant that we don't want to embody. And so yeah, there's nothing wrong with any emotions. There's no good or bad emotions. It's just information.
Yep.
Now, the actions that we take from those said emotions, well, then that's a whole other story, right?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so just be mindful that we're not like also getting to this point of where we're overanalyzing and beating ourselves up because we're feeling a certain way or having thoughts about
Oh,
certain
yeah.
things. It's like, it's okay, man. It's all right. Like you acting on that. Okay. Well, then you're okay, man. You're okay. It's okay that to feel all of that. It's all right. But just as long
Yeah.
as we're not acting on it. Yeah.
Or suppressing them.
Or suppressing it.
Yeah, it's like a
Exactly.
double-edged sword, right? And another
Yeah.
thing too is that you said something about some healthy ways. So, what would be some healthy ways to feel and express and get that anger out of the body?
Um, yeah, I mean, obviously action, like, going for a run, yeah,
And
working
also,
out.
what do you do?
Yeah, what do I do?
Yeah.
I do all of that. I do a
Oh,
great workout.
yep.
I get outside. I'm in Arizona, so I don't allow like the 115, 110 degrees Fahrenheit here deter me. So I get outside. The hotter, the better. It's almost like my own personal sauna. It's just outside for 4 months out of the year. So yeah, man, you just get outside and then journaling, I love,
Oh,
so again, like you
yeah.
have to get physical because you got to like release all this energy out for sure. Um, I'm a little too old to do all like the combat sports now. I don't really want to tweak a knee or an ankle or any of that kind
Mm.
of stuff. I'm not interested in that necessarily, but I think if you're a young man, I think definitely, jujitsu or karate or something along those lines, because it's important to also know how to defend yourself and to have an idea of because that's going to build confidence. Um, and then journaling, because it's still a mental psyche thing. You have to put it down on paper, in my opinion, at least what's
I
worked for
agree.
me. So, sometimes it's all these like, racing thoughts that are just this story, this shitty story that we're telling ourselves over and over and over and over again. And we're not even really too sure where it begins and where it ends. And we can't even really make it out. It just almost then becomes just this sinking feeling. And if we're able to detach and instead of becoming like just the incessant like participant in that shitty story, we put it down on paper and then we can become a little bit more observant. We can kind of witness ourselves and we could be like, huh, okay, is that real or is that fiction?
Mm.
Um, or and if it's real, okay, cool. Well, then again, back to the solutions. Okay, well, what can I do in order to either solve this problem or to alleviate it or what have you? But yeah, definitely journaling is helpful. Um, yeah, any kind of mindset, obviously, if you can meditate, it's hard. But again, it's just, what Jason Christoff says, it's not about perfection, it's about progress. And so, just just to be aware. Awareness is aware of like, wow, like the incessant thoughts. I think we have like 6,200 thoughts a day, and 90% of them or 95% of them are negative and
Yeah.
repetitive. So we're just thinking about the same thing over and over again. That's shitty.
Yep.
So yeah, let's get a mindset of, if I was tasked to, speak to my son or speak to my nephew or speak to my, a best friend, how would I navigate that? What kind of thoughts would, and what kind of speech would I be giving that individual? And then take that advice and apply it to yourself and start telling yourself a better story.
Mm. I know something for me that works too is that, my mum's Facebook's a ripper. It's got all the old photos of me on there. So
Mm.
I literally do that to myself and tell or show old versions of me. Like I put myself back in that moment, but I'm walking up to that young guy as me now or whatever, and I'm saying what he needed to hear in that moment, right? There's a
Absolutely.
photo of me on my Instagram that's the pinned photo of me like looking like a drunk, cooked guy in a nightclub, right? And it's like
Yeah.
I've walked up to that guy and said, I'm going to show you a new way. I'm going to show you a better story. Like we're going to rewrite this together. And it's like we beat up on ourselves for past versions of ourselves, right? I know I did that a lot for the things that I'd done and all of that. But it's like no, well that guy or that woman shaped who you are today. But you can walk back up to that person and that version of you and say what you needed to hear in that moment. And I know for me that was really big, just being able to look at that photo that came up one day and then just saying that to him, just like grabbing him and saying, "Bro, I've got you. It's
I love it,
completely
man.
okay."
I've used it as well. No, it's
Yeah.
so true, man. In
Mm.
acting and in acting class, we would and in acting in general, but like I learned there's like a strategy, I guess I can't really think of what the word would be, but like an element of where you would use like a substitution. So, you would be taking a script and then you would have to, you're not, you're trying to make it as authentic as possible, but then you have to look at your scene partner, the other actor or the other actress, and you have to like kind of substitute them with, someone that you love. And and especially, yeah, if you can use your little you, like a younger version of yourself, it's so helpful. It works. Absolutely.
Hmm.
Yeah. And
Agreed.
then yeah, just looking at that picture and yeah, it's powerful, man. And it's almost like reparenting yourself.
Yeah, I was,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's a very powerful one out there for anyone that's listening to. And for you, mate, like what's something that also that you do to help, I guess, feel those things too. Like for me, when the anger or the sadness comes up, it's just allowing myself to feel that because I feel like there's like this condition or mind program that's centuries old for men to suppress emotion, asking for help's weak, crying's weak, all those things. I feel like that's like a generational thing. I feel like a lot of us are here to sort of break that. I guess my question is, how are you able to feel and express those emotions, good and bad, right? Both. It's like a polarity. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? That question makes
Oh
sense to
yeah,
you?
no,
Yeah,
absolutely, for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I think you are, yeah, I think similar to what we kind of touched on already was, yeah, I like to get out in nature. I think that's just the great equalizer for me. Um, get some sunshine, get some fresh air, put my feet in the dirt, just get grounded, both physically and then mentally. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, and then ask, I think the art of inquiry is super important. We can start to ask ourselves questions. Questions are expanding, statements are a
Mm,
little bit more restrictive, so we start to come up with all the answers as to why we're feeling such and such, then it's not really much wiggle room there for, I guess, growth or learning. But if we are able to, ask ourselves a better question, we can start to get a little bit more expansive. And
mm.
then we can start to see, okay, is this like, like kind of like what Paul Chek says, like, is this what would love do? Okay, awesome. But we may not be able to get to that point initially. We just may have to be like really in the mundane and just really just be like this, just it's just acceptance. Like, hey, like this fucking pisses me off.
Yeah.
This is irritating me. And then remove ourselves from that with um yeah, and then with clarity and with a little bit more uh, um, calming emotions, we can then come back to that situation. But yeah, be okay. Be humble enough to know that this is not a good situation. It's not going to helpful for me to continue to be in this environment. And that's the biggest thing that I've had to kind of embody. I've been, I was it was hard. It was hard for me to take that time away because I'm a little bit more incessant and focused on like, okay, let's handle this right now. It's like, well, maybe it's best just to yeah to take some time away. But yeah, get physical and then just be radical acceptance
Yeah.
for lack of a better, just be like, yeah, this is what pissing me off. And then even the expression of it, right? Like just, we're speaking beings too, right? Like
Mm.
we have this amazing ability to use our language and our voice. And so being able to articulate it, either writing or verbalizing it, is certainly going to be helpful too. And how many times have we, you know, I know, like how many times have we said something like we just end up like venting about something or just saying something and we actually that was really just what was important. I just needed to say that. And there was no really necessarily any kind of resolve other than just being like, I just needed to get it out and not suppress it anymore. Because the more that we just suppress things, the more eventually it's gonna be like a geyser, just like explode.
Mm.
And that's not fun.
No, it's not, and it's avoiding that. We can
Yeah.
avoid it getting to that point where it explodes at someone or even on ourselves too, right?
Yeah. And I think sometimes we as young men, like younger versions of myself, I know I was avoidant because I was almost scared of how or what I would be responding to or how I would react. And then it's okay. It's all right to just start, testing yourself.
Mm.
And it's okay to, deal with, look at the anger and be okay with all of it. And then put yourselves in situations more and more that are going to test your resolve and have those difficult conversations. And
Mm.
initially that's going to be challenging. it's gonna be hard to have a conversation where you feel like you're not being heard or you're talking over one another or what have you, you know. But the more that you're able to test yourself and put yourself into those situations, the more that you'll build up that that muscle. And it's going to take time, and just be okay with it. Like, hey, it's all right. I don't. It's not about perfection. It's all right. It's
Mm.
going to take time. You're just. This is a learning curve for you, and it's all right. Um, there's also like, I think it's important to have like understand that you have two kind of narrators within your mind. You're going to have like sort of the loving kind of like fatherly, gentle, like, hey, you got this, bro. And then you're going to have another one who's going to be kind of like, you know, the gym bro at the gym who's going to be like, come on, fucking get your shit together. Let's go. Like it's okay to like draw from both of those voices, because I think at times we need to have both of those. And it's okay to just make sure that one isn't overriding the other. Sometimes we need to have that gentle, like nurturing encouragement. And other times we need to be like, hey, it's time. Let's
Mm.
go, you know, and draw from that, from
Mm.
both of those.
Yeah, lots of wisdom shared here, Ryan. Oh, it's really awesome chat today. I didn't,
Yeah,
you know how we were just like, I don't know where this is going to go, but it just ended up going in a really awesome place. I just wanted to ask you a couple more questions too, man.
yeah, absolutely,
It's
brother.
it's important for young men to feel these things too, but men in general, just for the younger men of today, mate. I know there's things I would have done differently, knowing what I know now, but how can a young man, like, what's the first step for a young man to start? I don't know, start on that trajectory of purpose, all the things. Like, what would be a first step for a young man to take if they're listening to this right now? If they're like, oh, wow, there's a bit going on here, but what can be the first foot step? Like, what would you recommend? Or what would you recommend?
Yeah, man, great question. Of course, it's like it's it depends on the individual, but just
Mm,
for the conversation, it's I think we just begin with courage.
mm,
The courage to really ask the question. I don't know where I heard this from, but like I think in school, like I think 80% of women, don't quote me on the percentages, but more girls will raise their hand to either answer or ask questions way more than young men or young boys. Um, and so I think it's okay to have the courage to ask questions and to seek out a mentor, to seek out another man, who you would like to aspire to, and to either listen to his podcasts. If you're able to have contact with him, then ask him questions and bring as much value that you can, depending on whatever status that you're in at that moment. So that it's like not just a take process where you're just asking to like pick his brain, but you're, hey, like I would love to provide value with you for you. And then in turn, you can start to really truly watch and model um, how he's doing it, and then apply and learn from there.
mm,
But yeah, I think the courage to also be, there's another book. It's like the courage to be disliked. It's a that's an art as well.
yep.
And I think initially, I think an easier way to navigate difficult conversations or difficult situations is just to be, genuinely curious, like really be inquiring. We can be kind of like a sarcastic, kind of pedantic um, attitude with like asking questions, and it can get misconstrued as, whatever, just being like sarcastic or a pest. But if you're really, inquisitive, I think that can be helpful too, because again, that is going to be, if it's done in a right way with the right diction and the right attitude, it can disarm or it could be less combative. Um, but yeah, and then just start to realize like what your gifts are. Like what are the gifts that you have to give? What comes easy for you? What do you resonate with? What is like what would you do regardless of whether you had to get, paid for or not? And then start to really explore that and start to ask and be like, hey, is this something that everyone has? And if it's not, then start to really explore that and start to see like, hey, what kind of value and what kind of purpose can I provide if I double down on this and start to realize I can really provide more value for someone else. Um, it's like the analogy of like if you have a hammer in your hand, you don't want to look for screws. You want to look for nails.
Yeah.
You want to look for nails that you can like hammer down. And if you have a screwdriver in your hand, then let's look for screws that we can do it. So, but don't try to overthink it and focus all of your attention on where you're not, where you're what you're lacking or what you're missing. I think it's super important. You're going to learn all of that. Like you embodying a purpose and a goal in mind, you're going to have so many other facets that you're going to have to then apply and learn in order to achieve that and to make something of that and to create some sort of monetary means and behind and in return rather. So you're going to have a plethora of options where you're going to have to realize, okay, like I'm a beginner at this, but in the meantime, let's focus on directing your attention to what you're skilled at and go from there. And and yeah, and just realize that you're yeah, you don't have to have it all figured out. That it's going to be like it's okay.
Mm.
It's going to be fine that you're just um and then just outwork yourself, outwork others. And that's going to be helpful. People are going to witness that, other men are going to see that and recognize that drive in you. And they're going to be like, okay, I want to help this young kid out because I can see either they can see themselves in you and or they can see that like, hey, like it's all right. Let's, you know, all of this testosterone that's driven towards something, hey, let's just gear that towards this way and it'll be easier for you. And in the end, that's going to be helpful for both the mentee as well as the mentor. So
I love that. That's a good piece of
yeah.
advice, man. That's yeah. I feel like you're talking to me for
Yeah.
parts of that too. Just where can people find you, mate, if they're new to you and new to yeah, if they're a new listener, new viewer, where can people find you, mate? Give
Yeah, man.
yourself a plug.
Appreciate it, dude. Yeah, so you can find me on my website, Ryan K. Huff. It's Ryan K Hough.com. I'm on Facebook, the same name. Instagram, my handle is from Ryan's Eye. And then yeah, LinkedIn, same. Yeah, feel
Awesome,
free
man.
to reach out.
Yeah, and also, mate, what services do you offer? I know you gave me an awesome human design reading last
Yeah.
year, which I listened to back. Oh, I listened to it back actually a couple of days ago.
Oh, awesome, man.
Really,
Good.
really, really made sense. So what else, so what do you offer, mate? Where if you yeah, give yourself a plug.
Yeah. Yeah, appreciate it, man. Yeah, so I offer human design readings. And then I also do obviously the freedom from self-sabotage coaching. And then I incorporate both of those. I think it's always helpful to help with, the some of the past, making sense of what, where we're coming from, but also then have a trajectory and an idea of where we, what we want to inspire to and our dreams by realizing some of that human design elements
Mm.
and incorporate that and less judgment. Um, and yeah. And if whoever is interested in all that, I did have a quick little introductory questionnaire that they could it's going to take like, all of 5 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, depending on how in depth you want to go, but just fill out a little questionnaire. And that just helps me get up to speed to where you're what you know what we're looking at, and we can have like a free consultation and then go from there, see if we're a right fit.
Love that,
And
Ryan.
that's all on my website. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, because I know the human design reading, like I knew I was a projector, but you were able to just, yeah, help me ease into that. You know what I mean? It was really good.
Splenic. It's been a while,
Yep.
but
Yeah,
Splenic, yeah,
splenic.
man.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, yep. It's awesome, man. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. I can't remember your profiles. What profiles were they? Your numbers?
I looked
Is
at
that
the
like a
other.
three? You have a three,
Yeah.
maybe a 3-5, perhaps, or
Yes.
three
Yep.
five? Cool.
You've
Yeah,
done well to
yeah,
remember that. I even I was like, yeah. So,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
are
No,
you a
it's awesome,
projector
man. No,
yourself?
I am. I am. I'm a 4-6 mental projector. So yeah. So I think what the big thing with human design is, especially for us projectors, is that we have, I think I sent you an image of that, of your design, of your archetype, essentially. And all the spaces that are defined, that have color, that's where we're going to draw a lot of our own, I guess, our own energy from. But we have all this open space, and that's where we really draw from our environment. And so it's really important, especially as projectors, just because we have a lot more open space, that, environment is super important. It's huge for us. We can it's a blessing and can be a challenge at the same time, because we can walk into a room and we can read a room really quickly because we can absorb all of that other energy from us. But if we're not careful, we can start to take it on as ourselves, and we need to kind of really have a good outlet. I see you posting a lot with your walk and talks, and that's so important, man, because you're getting out in nature, and so you're offloading some of all that energy that you're picking up on.
Mm.
And so you have a very focused aura as well. So when you have, and this is great for podcasts, because you really triangulate, you really narrow in on the other individual, and makes them feel great, and they're seen and they're loved and appreciated. And then there's also moments where you need to let that go too.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. Letting go has been a wonderful thing for me, mate. I'll tell you that right now. That and
yeah,
acceptance has been great.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm actually profile. I've got my thing up. I found it.
yeah.
1-1-3 is the
1-3. I knew there was a
profile.
three in there. Yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah.
then right angle cross tension of 39, 38, and then 21, 48. And the strategy,
Okay.
wait for the invitation. That was the
Yeah.
one when you did for me, because things would happen in my life where I would just unconsciously wait and an invitation would come in. Like I'd do something and then there would be that moment of that opportunity. But it's like I took a little bit of action, but I put a lot of pressure on myself to take that action. It's like a double-edged sword. So that wait for the invitation part of that was what resonated the most. It summed
That's
up my
awesome, man.
life prior. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, for sure. Well, and also, because you're so in tune and have like a great intuition, you can start to maybe offer some unsolicited advice as well, which can be kind of tricky too,
That's
because
the part.
sometimes people, if they're open to being, having some dialogue and some wisdom bestowed upon them, then that's great. But if they're not, then it can be, pardon
Tricky.
me, it can be kind of invasive. They're like, oh, I don't like, that's a little too much.
I
So
don't want to hear that, is what I usually get.
yeah, trial and error, man. I learned a
Yep.
lot. I learned those hard lessons as well, because it was coming from a loving place, but it may not be received in
Yeah,
that
it
that
didn't
same
land very
context.
well because the person wasn't ready to hear what I had to say.
Yeah, exactly,
Ryan,
exactly.
you're a wealth of knowledge, mate. So your story's awesome. You're an awesome guy, and I'm so glad we met up and came together in that in Jason's group. So if there's anything else you're willing to share, mate, is there anything else on your heart or that you like to share, or you've shared enough?
I appreciate you, Nathan. No, thanks for having me back on, man. And yeah, keep doing what you do, man. Thank you.
And you too as well. And anyone out there listening and watching that's my audience, Ryan's awesome. The human design stuff's really something we should be learning about ourselves is the human design. So, Ryan, thank you once again for all the wisdom you've shared, and I want to get you back on part three in the near future. Let's not wait 12 months this time, mate.
Appreciate it, brother. Yeah, thank you, man.
See you guys. We are out of here. Catch you later.